Hey guys, this is IntroducingEmy, and we're back with another 100 Days of Making Comics, and I'm working on page 194 from Chapter 6, Panel 1, Redo. It's a lot of information. I hope you're catching up. So anyway, we just got done doing Hugh's Jaw, and I was showing my clever little tricky crafty way of real quick making new stuff out of old stuff and old stuff out of new stuff and all that good stuff. So I've technically got Hugh locked down right now, and I'm going to start working on Quazky. Now, Quazky's fully posed, and what do they call that? He's got oh, I can't think of it. I don't even know what I was gonna say. He's fully posed. It's fully, no accessories required. And here what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to sketch out top his new pose with all his new stuff, and then I'll kind of work from there. I'll see if I can find a head that's kind of close and go over that and kind of start patching this together. Oh, my old necks are so this whole area, and I used to be so proud of that, and it's all busted up. It's just, it's a mess. It's a wreck. So we will go look for a better homeland. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just trying to keep the jibba jabba going. One of the things I don't like is I don't feel like he's really looking at Hugh in the old panel. So he might get a more forward-facing face. See how what do I turn it? See how in the old one his head is turned. He's pretty much looking up and behind Hugh. And I don't like that. The nose is kind of, oops, sorry, I just bumped my mic. The nose is a good indicator of where a character's looking, so I want the nose to be more forward-facing so that he's more forward-facing. And I want his eyes more open. He's I don't know what I was doing, but he always looks overly unpleasant or shy in old or not shy, sly in old pages. And I'm not sure if I was still sort of ill-defined on the type of character he was going to be, or what. In my old stuff, my old developmental stuff for Train Human, Quazky was more of a villainous character. He wasn't necessarily a villain, and he wasn't down on Hugh or anything. In fact, they probably weren't even friends in my old versions, but they were definitely not compadres. And I think that once I started working on Trying Human, I kind of was still feeling that, I was he's a slippery guy, but he's actually this really good character in Trying Human for the most part. He's a kind of an asshole and insensitive jerk, but his heart's in the right place. He's trying. He's developing. He's becoming a mature young man. But he's technically the one who gives Hugh his humanity, so I can't really give him guff on that. I can't say he's a bad guy for that. So what I'm just trying to do here is get my big shapes in. Looks like a kitty cat. And then, so something like this, what I would normally do is, I actually kind of like the position of his hands. They don't look great, but it's pretty much what I'm going for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of rough them in. I like his, like, please join me in the lounge kind of pose. Right this way, sir. Your humanity is right over here. Yay. So do something like that. These little claws. Can't forget those claws. And then I would, by the way, if you ever notice that my magic wand toggles, like, in and out, I don't know if you can really see that, but sometimes it'll look like it's decreasing or increasing the selection. I have a hotkey set up to increase and decrease by 1 pixel, so I can, like, adjust it to just be, like, right inside the lines, and you don't see that, like, little white halo or whatever. So I know my rule is if it's black and white, it's done. It's not really the case here. So what I've done is wow, he looks weird. I kind of forgot what he looked like for a minute there. So I've put his hands up into the position I want them to be in. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of move his body and his pose around until I feel like I'm making some connection. And for now I'm going to put a pink over all this, and I'm going to make it screen. I'm going to make it scream. Now I'm going to screen it, which makes it kind of see-through. I'm going to lock the hands. Hands, screen pink, Quazky, hue. Okay, so now I've got like 4 working layers. Now, once I'm done with all this, it's just going to get all collapsed down into one big flat layer. I don't like having a lot of layers. I think it takes, like, when I'm working on a file, I kind of mess around with and have like a million layers just to sort of keep everything loosey-goosey and all that. But once I'm done, I'm done. And I'll just draw on top. I'll make the fixes later if I have to, but I try not to work with a lot of layers. I know I've mentioned this before, but it is not a badge of honor to have a million layers. And well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe it is, and maybe I'm just being a jerk. But I remember that was like a thing back when digital art galleries were becoming a thing on the internets. Was like people would put up like a layer count. And I'm like thinking to myself, but if it's a good drawing, you shouldn't even be able to see the layers, let alone, you know, why do you care how many, like, you could seriously just sit in a file and hit new layer, new layer, new layer, new layer, and just not put anything in them and be like, wow, my file had 1,000 layers, you know? It's not really like a point to doing that. But some people are really proud, you know, if they're able to manage that many and all that. I'll be quiet, I'm sorry. I don't want him to like have to tuck his arm up so much. See, this is what's so nice about working in a separate file is I can like draw way outside my panels and not feel so claustrophobic or whatever. So, here's an interesting thing that happened. One of my bank accounts kind of got locked on accident. I'm not sure how. I'm a little paranoid. I hope like nothing really bad happened. But I had a call today to, you know, it might have been Dave. Dave and I share this particular bank account, so he might have been trying to get into it via my username and thought and screwed something up. But anyway, so I had to like reset all my password information and stuff, and one of the security questions was, what is your biggest fear or phobia? And I thought, wow, what a heavy bank question. Like bringing up traumatic childhood memories while you're trying to get into your account. I guess you could just like not pick it, but because I think they had like 10 other things you could have as, I don't know, it just was like really, to me anyway, it was like this really deep question, and I was like, what is my deepest fear? I ended up using it. No, I'm not going to tell you guys what my deepest fear is. It's actually something really silly, but it's not obvious either. People always say like aliens and stuff. Just like, psh, I'm not scared of aliens. If I was, I wouldn't be doing the comic. Pro tip, I used to be really scared of aliens, and then I started the comic, and now I'm not scared of them anymore because it's like, ugh, I've drawn them so much at this point that it's like the grays, the big black eyes, and all that. Doesn't scare me. When I say aliens, that's what I mean, the gray aliens, not like xenomorphs, which scare the shit out of me. Xenomorphs are spookadied. Actually, I don't know. Xenomorphs don't really scare me either. I mean, obviously, if you met one, you'd probably be scared, but they're not real, so it's like, I guess it's the idea that the grays could be real, and then it's like, you know. That's why people fear hell. It could be real. I don't know. This is getting way too deep. See what I mean? This bank question. Way too deep. I'm like exploring deep internal dialogues here. Alrighty. This pose is so frick. It's so janky. I might have to go into pose dolls. Or pose dolls. What the hell's that? Design doll and try to, well, maybe I could. Maybe that would be the time to do this. So let me, try to de-jankify the head a little bit. Then that's not really like a big deal. God, I hope that word janky isn't like a bad word. I'm gonna feel really bad. Oh, what was a word I heard the other day that I thought sounded like a swear word, but it wasn't? Oh, nickel. Of all things. I think I was like looking at a magazine. It was a Christmas catalog. You ever get those junk Christmas catalogs in the mail, and they just have all kinds of stuff in them, you know, that you can buy for cheap? Well, I'm going to open up a different program right now real quick, just an FYI. Design doll. Well, anyway, I was looking in there, and they had a sack full of buffalo nickels that I guess you could buy for somebody. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, nickel is kind of like a bad word. It just sounds like fishy. And I'm not one for language bans or anything like that. I don't know, that word stuck out to me as being kind of weird. I never thought about it before. I forget what they call that phenomenon where you hear words so much that it kind of like loses its meaning and just becomes this sort of, oh, look at this awful Quazky. Forget what I was even doing with this, but I think it was climbing the building I was using. This is my Quazky model. This program's called Design Doll, by the way. So let's return him to, first of all, let's get rid of this. We don't need a box. Let's return the model to, oh gosh, haven't done this in a while. Oh, there we go, reset. I was like, where is that? They actually recently updated the program to be able to adjust the feet, which I thought was kind of cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip it back to its original. I'm going to select all for the Quazky layer, and then I'm going to go over to this other program called PureRef. I think I've gone over PureRef before. I've got a lot of art programs that I kind of mess around with. And we're just going to kind of... I've got this set for a light opacity. That's not really important right now, but what is important is Design Tool. We're going to put it on top. And for now, I'm just going to throw PureRef kind of off to the side here. I've got it set up so it always stays on top. And then we're just basically, hey, that's right. Basically just going to do this pose. So if you have questions about how to like do the opacity and everything on if you have questions on how to like set the opacity on PureRef, or like how to adjust models on Design Doll. Well, firstly, I have a video on PureRef where I think I go into some of that stuff. It's a little old now, so the audio might not be great, but it's a thing. It exists. So if you go on my YouTubes and search PureRef, IntroducingEmy, you should find it. And then I don't believe I have a video yet on Design Doll. And if I do, I've already forgotten, which is not good. But Design Doll, you have lots of different ways to toggle stuff around. I want these hands close together in front of the chest. This thing has been such a godsend. It poses that would normally take me forever. I use this and it's like a very quick setup. It's very easy to use. Like, it has this really intuitive thing going on. Now, I don't care about his legs because they're not in the panel, so I'm just kind of gonna swap them out. Because I'm great like that. Look at him, he's so, like, about it. Now the head, I don't really even care about. Like, that's why it doesn't look very much like him or anything. I don't care. Is what it comes down to. So, all I care about is getting this, like, sweet pose. So, now what I'm going to do is adjust the hands real quick. Now the camera has adjusted just to go closer to the, I'm gonna just set PureRef down, go down there. Now the camera's adjusted just so you can have like a close-up look at the hands, but right to left. Once you click model, it should go back out to the view you were using before to adjust it. And then all I'm gonna do is just kind of slide this over top and see how close I got it, and then make adjustments from there. So this is what I mean where I don't really care about the head. I just kind of use it as a guideline, but it's generally not. Also, my limbs are kind of shorter than the models, so I got that pretty close. Let me just turn all this off. Okay. I like that. His shoulders are like way up though. I kind of exaggerate them, and I think these models, they can be exaggerated to a point, but after a while it starts to kind of break the model apart a little bit. Maybe I should heed that warning when that happens. That. Oops. Now he's karate chopping. One thing I will say that I do like is the model, like, when you push it so far, like, if you try to turn the hands all the way, like, backwards or something, it won't let you, which, I don't know if there's, like, a setting you can turn off, or you can be like, hey, no, I have a character with backward hands, I need some flippin' backward hands up in here. I don't know if you can do that or not. I will say, though, I kind of like the fact that it locks you off because you're like, no, I want to do this impossible pose. And it's like, no, honey, they'll die if you do that pose. So it sort of prevents you from, like, breaking arms and wrists and stuff. Again, you might be able to, like, turn all that off. But for now, this is what I've found. So I kind of maybe want to put this out a little more. Away? I don't know. Alright, so that's it's a lot better, I think. What happens if I try to, like, get the head down as low? What does that, like, even look like? Like, can I... No. How do I... Can I... I'm frustrated. What if I want him to kind of be, like, pushing his head down into his neck a little more? I actually like that, but... I use that one ear as my pointo reference. Yeah. Okay. So that'll be that. Now, depending on my, like, mode of transit into this, I might either, like, trace problem areas just to get it over with, or just heard me take a million screen caps of the same thing. Usually I just port it in now. The models are so far off from my originals. They're kind of hard to go over and, like, just be like, well, I'll just trace it because they don't really look like my characters. So, like, I'll try to eyeball this in a little better. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll just chop up the original till I get it looking kind of how I wanted it to in the program, even though that's not how it looks in the realities. Let's put the head there. Is this bad? Should I not do this, I wonder? Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, chopping up the original. Because it helps me get a lot of stuff done a lot quicker. So I don't have to sit and, like, kind of mess around. Now, for some reason, when I updated, every time I hit Control S, the models turn black. Like, completely matte black. Can't see anything. But then whenever I reopen them or resave, see that? I don't know why it does that. Yeah, Control S. That's the right... I don't know. It's weird, yo. It's weird. Come on. My pen's kind of messing up. Like I said, tablet is ringing the death bell. So yeah, see how, like, I don't know. These don't feel like my hands, so I just kind of get a basic... Like, I didn't really adjust the thumb how I would normally look. Like, I like really angly thumbs. Angly, all these technical art buzzwords. But I'll, like, get an idea. Yeah, see, I don't like that thumb. Very picky. But this is nice that I can see this. See how, like, in the original I sketched it to have, like, a big scoop? In the model, it's a little more... see, I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to, like, put a big scoop in there, and that... Oh, that's not right. And, so this helps me. There you go. Pretty much everything else other than like kind of pose of the hands and everything. Oh yeah, and I kind of have to like... So, I'm going to tell you guys a story real quick while I work on this. One of the zillions of stories I tell. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I deleted that. Hope you guys didn't want to see any more of that. Alright, so let's move on here. Here's my story, though. So, Quazky was designed to be this character that kind of, like, looked sort of funky and dirty, and, like, he was supposed to be kind of, like, guy you would see living in a trailer, you know? I wanted him to, like, have this, like, really funky vibe about him. Well, anyway, there goes my tablet. I designed that top he wears to be kind of like a tank top, aka a wife beater. And this is where the story comes in. So when I was in college, we watched a streetcar named Desire. And spoilers, if you've never seen a streetcar named Desire, first of all, you need to go out and see it because it's excellent. Either the musical or the musical. Wow. No, that's The Simpsons. What I recommend is going to see the stage version or the movie with, and I can't think of his name, Marlon Brando. Yes, Marlon Brando, the one with Marlon Brando. Anyway, so, like, we had to, oof, that's not the pose I wanted, I don't think. I'll see if I can make it work. Anyway, we had to watch it, and I think we read the play, and we were discussing it and stuff. Well, everybody in the class, I think we were, like, looking at the symbolism of their outfits and what the outfits meant for this literature class or this play class in college, and, the teacher was asking us, like, what are some things, clothing-wise, that are symbolic about the characters? And one of the things that we pointed out about Marlon Brando's character was that he wears a wife beater, aka a tank top, aka a wife beater. And the teacher was, like, shocked. She had never heard that term before, and it's not like she was not an English major. And I don't know, was that like and a lot of it, I mean, everybody else in the class had heard of it, and she actually was like, who else had ever heard that? And we were like all raising our hands, and it's like, where were you raised, honey? That's a pretty common turn of phrase. I mean, it's not exactly a great turn of phrase, but it is a phrase, you know, it's like an actual thing. I don't know. I hope she didn't think we were like screwing with her, but she was like very excited once she was like, "Oh my goodness, this changes everything about this for me," and the play that is, you know. So, thought that was a funny, interesting story. Kind of weird. Kind of weird that like she didn't know. I don't know. I always find it this is a thing that bothers me, and it shouldn't. I always find it strange when people like pronounce words totally differently. And it's like a word that's common that you know, it's not like an uncommon word, like a word that you'd have to look up in the dictionary to like get the right pronunciation. There's a lot of that going on right now with the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth expansion. They put in a narrator who voices like all the items in the game. And my tablet just died, so 1 second. But anyway, the narrator is pronouncing all the words correctly, but there's all these like fan pronunciations that have cropped up because of different Let's Players and things like that. And now everybody's having to adjust to the actual way that these words are pronounced. And you can kind of tell that it's like bugging people either one way or the other, but that's not what I mean. What I mean is, for example, I had a teacher, I believe she was my 3rd or 4th grade teacher, and she called licorice, we've all heard this term, right? She called it lick-o-rice. Lick-o-rice. And we had no clue what she meant as kids, but she was so assured of her correct pronunciation, and she was not screwing with us. Like, this was not a joke. And she kept like, God, I remember we all kind of fought her on it, and she just would not stop calling it that. And I remember like, I've never seen a group of 3rd/4th graders, I can't remember how old we were, like, ready to fight this woman about the pronunciation of this word. And now I kind of wonder if that was like an old, dated way of that word, you know, using that word. Like, was that like an old 1920s way and she just never heard it after that? I don't know. Lick-o-rice. I mean, that's how it's spelled. But as far as I know, that is not how it's pronounced. So what I'm doing here is I have brought in a Quazky head that's kind of in the ballpark of what I'm looking for, but not quite. I mean, I'm gonna have to like redraw parts of it and stuff. But it just gives me an idea to make sure I'm like staying pretty close on model. Yeah, see, like, I'm gonna kind of tilt his whole expression like down a little more. Like this is kind of like cockeyed a little bit, but I want it down lower. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys another story. And I'm like really running over for time. This is gonna be a slightly longer episode, but it has to do with mispronouncing words. Okay, so I grew up in a really conservative area of the country in the United States. I grew up in a little town in Pennsylvania, and people were very like, at the time we were allowed to have sex ed in schools. I do not know what the policy is there now, but it was very, it wasn't super informative. It was like just enough. And then, you know, but I was in high school. I think technically it would have been middle school for the rest of the country. We had a weird thing where we didn't have enough people for our middle school, so everybody was either in high school or elementary, and that was it. But anyway, so we had a teacher, and she told this hilarious story how when she was getting her degree to teach, you know, health and all that to kids, there was a girl I assume like a college-age woman who had never heard the word penis before, and she pronounced it penis. And because she came from like a really sexually repressed home life. And my teacher said that people used to walk around going, anyone care for some tennis? And like would make like the tennis racket motion. I felt kind of bad for her, that girl. I hope she didn't take it too hard now that I'm like, I never really thought about that part. But again, mispronounced words, fun for the whole family. Yep. Now, to be 100% scum about this, I'm just going to... Wow, I don't think his nose is like... I guess it's okay. I kind of worry sometimes the nose isn't like turned up as much as it needs to be. Whatever. It's close enough. There is an empty layer that... I don't know. There was an empty layer. Oh, you know what? Maybe I was going to do something like this. What I was saying is, just to scum my way out of this slightly more, I'm going to select the green layer, and I'm just going to color in the hair here, because I do actually want the hair. I guess I could have done the cheek as well, but kind of clean that part up, so I don't want it. But yeah, just kind of grab the old one, make a new one. Now I should mention I don't really do this kind of stuff for the updates. The redos are sort of like in a world of their own processes. There is a lot of slapdashery going on where I'm just sort of like pitching stuff together and like gotta get the page out, and I have so many of them that I've got to do and stuff. So I feel so like I take a lot of shortcuts, and I do feel kind of guilty about that, but at the end of the day, I have like hundreds of these pages I have to go through and fix, and yeah, well, not hundreds so much anymore, but I did have hundreds. And I didn't want to like spend the rest of my life doing these. I just want him to have kind of like a sweet face, but still like got a little craftiness back behind that smile. Let's just do a blackout on the mouth for now. Maybe something like that. I don't know. face looks really weird. I probably am going to change the eyes, but for now, I'm going to call that the end of this episode. I kind of gone over by like 10 minutes, and I need to finish this up, and then I'll come back, and we'll do the things. We'll do all the things. Alright, I will see you guys next time. Bye!